It's dark inside my sitting room. And usually I like it that way. We do have windows that look out onto the street, but we keep the blinds down because otherwise people can just see right in. And also, it's when the sun shines right in, it's really, really bright. We were allowed out for 30 minutes a day, I think. Or maybe it's an hour, but I usually stay out for about 30 minutes. I go to the hallway, and there's a light shining over the door. The hallway's plain and white. I've got my shoes on and my coat on, and I feel the weight of them as I reach out and I touch the cool metal handle. It's blinding. And then my eyes adjust and I see the concrete, the porch door handle, checkered black walkway, another cool metal gate that swings open. It used to make a squeaking sound every single time, like rust, like and after 4 years, I fixed it. So, it's mostly quiet. But I still feel the resistance of it as it clips back into place. The ground is really uneven. I notice that immediately now. The undersides of my feet have gotten used to the smooth faux wood floors in my flat. I can feel the bumps in the pavement through my tennis shoes. The sunlight streaks across the top of the buildings on the street, making a line, like a bright white line, this really definitive line, and if I look above it, the reflection off the paint hurts my eyes. Even already, it's green. The trees, the shrubs in people's tiny front gardens. The birds. It'll be sunset in a couple hours, so there's a fair number of birds out, and you can hear them chirp, chirp, and I say chirp to myself, chirp, chirp, but of course they all sound really chirp, different. Chirp, 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 chirp. Where the sun gets too bright, I keep my eyes focused on my shadow. It's mostly quiet. There's a siren in the background. It kind of fades in. It echoes through the houses, but it's far away. Car shadow. Lamppost shadow. Little green bits poking up here and there in the cracks. The street opens up onto a hill, and it's one kind of green and sandy dirt, and the ground is uneven now, but in a different way. A little bit softer, more compact. And I see the trees. There's a path over to the left, just long and green and filled with sort of a gold-green sunlight, and I take a deep breath. I like all the green. Everything is green. It's all different kinds of green, but it means that I can just focus on the bits that aren't green, the bits that aren't blue sky, and what I hear, what I feel beneath my feet. The dirt path is packed down, and the tree branches all reach out, all gnarled trees all along the pathway, curled and knotted, and some are sharp and stick out, and some are very, very long. trees that tell stories of growing under things and sideways and up and down and up again before anyone cleared out the ghosts of other trees or, I don't know, rocks or vines or something that was in their way. Someone's playing a drum, I can hear it. Someone's just sitting in the side of the woods and playing a drum, and the rhythm is really distracting and it's in my head. And I try not to replicate it, I try not to think about it because I don't want to be stuck with it. Back at home, the neighbors above me, most days they play music really loud all day, really heavy bass, and I can't get away from the rhythms of it, so I keep walking and I look at the dirt. I don't look at the green. I look at the dirt and the brown and the speckles in it and the stones and the little sticks and the twigs. Too close, someone comes by on a bike. Much too close. I step up onto the overpass over the road. Keep my head down. The light on the white railings is blinding. I focus on the little tufts of green, little friends sticking out from the pavement. Little friendly weeds or grass. Usually there's loads of cars, but not right now. I like the busyness of all the cars. I like the buildings far away, down the highway in the distance. They're a certain kind of gray, like a misty gray that I find really calming. And I sort of make up stories about them. Just far off stories that comfort me. I step back down onto the dirt off the overpass, and there's a doggy coming along. And I look at it and I think to myself, dog, 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 dog. Because I'm just watching the paws go, and the rhythm of the dog walking. And I want to say hi to the dog, and I don't want to say hi to the people walking with the dog. And luckily, the person with the dog keeps running down the main path, and the dog comes and visits me on the side path. It doesn't stop. And I think about soft brown ears and soft brown mud. I think about soft tail wagging, and I think about the soft, really, really soft tail my rabbit has got on it. My rabbit who's at home because it's not safe for him to run around outside in the woods. And I think about where my rabbit would go. And I turn. And I walk off the path towards the brush. Down a long dirt path, and I'm mostly looking at the dirt, and I'm trying not to step in the really muddy bits. I don't mind mud, actually. I really like it. I like feeling the texture of it, and I like feeling my weight sink down into the mud. If I touch it, I like how cool it is, and I like how smooth it is on my hands, just a little bit gritty. And if I need to, I can just focus on the smoothness and the grittiness, and I can ignore other stuff, but I don't like cleaning off, and I don't like cleaning my shoes. So I try not to step in the mud too much. I walk down away from the paths, and I find a crater, a really big crater. It's near some more trees that have twisted and turned and grown sideways along the ground, and I don't really know why all of them did that, and I imagine that a big asteroid came and landed in the crater and carved everything out, and all the animals made little burrows along the sides of it. They lived protected by the crater, and the trees and the bigger animals got scared. The trees grew away from the asteroid. But, I mean, it wasn't that. It was just a big tree that fell over. Probably pulled up a bunch of dirt with it. But I don't know. It's an old forest. Someone told me it's been here for, like, pretty much untouched, besides the paths, I guess, for several hundred years. There's a little pond. There's not anything in it, really. I don't think there's any fish in it, but I don't know. The light pings off the leaves through the trees. And I like it when it's at angles. It sort of creates shapes on the ground that just sit there like really still shapes, but when you look at them, but they won't be there in 15 minutes, they won't be there in an hour. Not the same. And it's not overhead, it doesn't hurt my eyes, it doesn't reflect off of everything. You can see all the different shades of green. When I was really little, I was in the Scouts, and every troop had to do a project on a different country, and we got assigned to do Ireland. This is in America, and our troop, I remember we're supposed to learn different things about Ireland and Irish culture and stuff, and I don't think our troop leaders did any research really. I don't know, maybe they did. I was pretty little, but I remember them telling us that Ireland had over 40 shades of green. And I remember that being this really big, important fact to me. Wherever I went, and I grew up around woods, and wherever I went, I would look and see how many different shades of green I could count. In the back of my head, there was this thing of I was going to go to Ireland and see all the shades of green there ever were, more than 40 of them. And so I'm sure in my brain, I didn't count, but I did sort of catalog them, and I'm sure I have hundreds of shades of green. And every little bit of tuft of weeds or drop leaves or bit of moss around a campfire that's been left alone is a different shade. Big bruised gnarled trees. I think they look really beautiful, and I think also probably they got all gnarled by being hurt or on fire, because I guess that's how trees work. It's lovely and quiet here. There's a bit in the forest that I really like because it's really short hills, and you can kind of run up and down them like a roller coaster. So I drop, and then I run back up, and then I drop again into another small crater, and run up again, and down, and up, and down, and I love it, and I'm beaming. And then there are some people coming farther down the way. I like doing this. I like talking to myself. I like talking to you. I think often I want to do things like run and talk to myself, and I stop when there are people around. I think talking to myself, or talking to you this time, it helps me. Maybe it helps us process everything around. It's 23 whatever hours a day of basically the same light or artificial light and the same echoing soundscapes inside my house, and the same way that the fridge or the oven sounds, or the way that I sound when I close a door, or when I cough, or breathe deeply. But it's a lot going outside, and I think talking about it helps. There's a bird. Talking about it helps me think differently about things too. I want to show you the bird right now. It's really beautiful, these birds we've got. I don't know much about birds. I don't know what it's called. It's white. It's got really vivid black and blue markings on it. I'm sort of chasing it down the path. Not on purpose. I'm walking slowly, but as I get a bit near, I get spooked and it flies off into the sun and down and up again. The sun's in my eyes, but only for a few moments, and it's to know when it's really direct like that, it's not too much, it's kind of just beautiful. There's the bird again. He alights on a signpost where the path splits. And we're going to keep following him. We're going to creep closer and see how close we can get. I want to see how close we can get to him together. And there he's gone. we can still see him down the path. Every time he flies, his wings make these beautiful little white arcs through the air suddenly, against this backdrop of green and brown. There's a big tree on the path, so I decide to leap around it, and I head back home. I follow the path back, the same brown and green, and the light's coming in at a sharper angle now. I don't like it so much. When light comes in the corner of my eyes, it hurts it and distracts me, and I'm getting tired. I'm getting tired from, not from walking, I'm getting tired from everything being so different. When I go to work, I'm used to a certain kind of adjusting to the train or to the noise of things, to the way everything sounds different outside, to people talking, to the green of the woods. But when I only get to get out once a day, it takes more energy. And then I see a little friend, a little tiny green something moving, really small, and I can tell it's hanging from a thread. I always look for things if they're in webs or hanging from threads, and I think it's a little worm, like a silkworm. Just very, very small, and dancing gently in the breeze, hanging over a big patch of mud. Such a vibrant little moving green amongst all the stillness. And then up to my right, there's a pond again. I've never seen anything there before, but this time, and this is true, this time there's a duck. There's 2 ducks. They're a couple. And I wonder if they've got a nest. I can't see it, but I see the ducks paddling around and they look thirsty because they're drinking, or maybe they're just eating little bits of things. I think about ducks being thirsty, whether I'm thirsty. And I do kind of wish I was a duck. I wish I could just sit in the cool water, have a drink. But I don't know. Ducks' heads always look to me like they're bent at very uncomfortable angles. I don't know how much I really want that. And I watch the ducks. And then I step away. And I pass the crater again, and I think about aliens. I think about if we did have aliens land. I think about how they would try to describe everything in their language. I think about how they have senses that we don't even know about. They'd have whole, just entirely different ways of being in the world, ways of understanding it, and ways of, mostly I'm thinking about green on my walk, because there's so much green and the sun, and there are things I have no idea about that they might be focused on for half an hour. And I cross the overpass again on my way back, and I notice the rhythm of the slats in the guard on the side of the overpass. And that's soothing. And in my head I hear the sound of them like ching 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 ching, like as if I was banging a stick against them. The gaps make these nice sounds in my head. I get closer to the edge of the overpass, and someone's still there with the drum. But this time, as I get closer to passing them, they stop. And they take a break for a couple minutes until I'm mostly past. And they start up again. It's a different rhythm, and I can hear them. But it fades into the distance. And there's another dog. And I don't see the dog at first. I hear another rhythm, but tinny and moving towards me, and it's coming out of a boombox. It's not live. And then I see the man carrying a little boombox, and I see there's a dog with him, and the dog's really friendly, but he won't let the dog come see me. But he's friendly. He says hi. He keeps his distance. And he's listening to the music, so I know he doesn't want to talk. But he just wants to say hi, and that's nice, so I wave back. And then I hear him go past me, back and to the left, and farther back, and farther back, and farther back. And then I can still hear him a little bit, but he's far enough away that I don't think about him anymore, and I'm on my own again. And I walk down the path, and down the little hill, and it's back to the buildings again, and after it's the green and the brown, it's brick and black cars and a red post box and bins, and it's a lot, and I'm tired now. I was getting tired of all the green, and now I'm kind of just tired of everything. And so I keep my eyes down, out of me, on the ground. And I think about, even though I really like being outside more, I think that I'll feel better when I'm inside again, when things are a bit dim, and I know how the sounds are going to echo off the walls of one room or another one. And I look down again at the cracks, and there's not many bits of green, but you can see where paint splattered, or where grains of sand or dirt or something else have been deposited by rain running down the gutters, running down the side of the street. I'll think about how long it took for all those things to get there, the story of them getting there. And I shut the gate, and it rustily clicks into place. Down the black and white path, I cool handle of the porch door. The keys go into the lock of my front door, and they don't quite fit. And it's annoying when they don't fit, but I like the feeling of jostling them, of trying to get the pins to pop up in the right order. I look down at the light from the door and the dim hallway, and I take a deep breath. Goodbye.